Everybody, you ready? We're here. We are here. Perhaps a definitive moment for World Cup qualifying in our region of CONCACAF. The United States could qualify if they win all three games, which is not far-fetched at all. And we'll get into that here in a moment. Mexico or Panama lose all three of their games. Below that, Costa Rica and Jamaica would have to get really hot. We don't foresee that. So if the USA wins all their games, 3 out of 3, and Panama or Mexico lose all their 3, then we could be celebrating here by February 2nd. That's probably not going to happen, right? I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll talk about the ramifications because, yes, the U.S. could clinch a spot potentially here by February 2nd, or they could leave the door open and things could get a little hairy in that final window. They will. We will talk about all of that here on the Soccer OG. I'm so pumped. I know you guys are pumped. We talk so much about it. And when the games get here, they never disappoint. It feels so big. This is our Super Bowl. Please check out the Soccer OG podcast. Having my best month in Soccer OG podcast history. So thank you for all those who listen. We got a great podcast there with Adam Bells of Scuff Pod. We have a great podcast there with Hercules Gomez, so scroll through some of the old ones. We're going to have a video component of that very soon. Tomorrow, after the USA and Mexico games, we will be live on this channel and El Tri Online as we do a recap of what we saw. And we will be on the road on Wednesday to bring you all the action and put a bow on World Cup qualifying. So a lot to get to. Please like and subscribe right here. We appreciate all the support. And we don't steer you wrong. So I have a few bullet points that we're going to get through. This is kind of comprehensive about what's happening in CONCACAF with a specific eye on the U.S. And again, we will recap all of this tomorrow night. So stay tuned here on YouTube. The weather's been talked about. Let's talk about the weather really quickly. So everyone's been asked about it, and either the answer is no, it's not a big deal. I think Christian Pulisic mentioned that. He's played a lot. We should be all right. We have all played there. We are all well prepared. The other thing that is often said is it's both teams are going to be affected by this. You know what I've discovered through the years? I never ask questions about weather or altitude. We should. I'll let someone else do that. We should, because it is a factor. But a lot of times they'll be like, we got this. Everyone gets cold. Everyone runs out of air at altitude. I don't care how finely tuned an athlete you are. It has an effect. But I've learned not to ask those questions because they get thrown back at me, so I don't ask them anymore. But I appreciate all those who do ask. I would say there is some truth to the fact that both teams have to adjust to it. And there's nothing you can do about the Canada game. But when the U.S. plays El Salvador and Honduras and Honduras do not have a guy who is going to be there like Mr. Freeze and going, the great outdoors. I love playing in this kind of weather. I'm going to get rid of these gloves. I'm going to wear short sleeves. That's not going to happen. The U.S. will have an edge over those two countries because none of those players have any experience. Very few of them have any experience playing in this kind of cold. We will discuss the weather at the back end and see what effect it has. But I still think when you even the playing field, the United States will have an edge because they will have a little bit more acclimation. They'll have more players who have played in these kind of games. It may not be pretty, and the U.S. may have to explain a lot because of that. Because, again, the goals do come away. But I think we can kind of put that away for now. The next thing I want to talk about is expectations. So expectations. What will happen here? Now, on my last video, or 2 videos, I said 6 points. I've moved that up to 7 because of what has happened with Canada. They have some COVID issues. Alphonso Davies is out. Eustachio, I think he's back in. I apologize. I didn't check that on the way in. That's my bad. But I think he traveled. But Alphonso Davies is a big one. There is a potential of getting 9 points. You can't put too much pressure on your team and say get the 9 points. But it's going to be waving a carrot. If they beat El Salvador, and Greg Berhalter has already said this is the most important game, so expect the very best lineup for this El Salvador game. If they can get that result against Canada, 9 points will be like within reach. It's possible. I'm going to set it at 7 points. Now, I said if the U.S. could qualify in this window, if they don't get the 9 points and Panama and Mexico don't go 0, we still have something to play for, right? We'll get to Mexico because they could have a real dilemma on their hands. I did it where the USA got 7 points and Panama got 4 points. Panama plays at Costa Rica. Panama has COVID concerns, including their coach. So it would be naive to think that they will be as good as they have been leading up to this. And they've always found an answer, and that's what I've really been impressed by, the stick-to-itness of Panama and the uncompromising nature of this squad. They believe in themselves. They got a very good coach who they won't be able to lean into as much. They go play at Costa Rica, then they play Jamaica at home, and then they wrap it up at Mexico. I'm saying they can get 4 points. Let's say 4 points, USA gets 4 points. So heading into the final window, the USA would be at 22 points, Panama will be at 18. In that final window, Panama has 2 home games against Honduras and Canada. Then they have that 1 game at the United States. So if it's a 4-point gap, and remember March 24th in the final window, USA travels to Mexico. Probably not a position where they're going to get 3 points. Say they lose that game. All of a sudden you head into a USA-Panama game potentially where Panama's down 3 points or 4 points. You do the math. We're going to be a nervous wreck. I don't want to get to that game and it's a 4-point gap and Panama could make it 1. Not that they would win, and that game will be in Orlando. Not that they would win, but I don't want to be having this conversation with you like, yo, 4 points. We should be in the clear by then. But as you can see by the numbers, if you approach this pretty practically, then it could turn for the worse for the United States. So those expectations, 9 points, everyone's saying go for it. I say go for it. I say it is possible. I didn't say that a couple weeks ago. The Canada situation, plus the fact it's not going to be freezing cold there. By the way, I've been jumping on some of these Canadian national team calls. They don't offer some of these players. I was a little taken back. Gotta raise the standard there. Because we have incredible access, we have pretty good access via Zoom. You can access the videos on YouTube. USA on Wednesday gave us Greg Berhalter and Christian Pulisic. Canada gave us just Junior Hoylett and Maxime Crépeau. That's neither here nor there. So the next thing is who plays. I hope we've all gotten it out of our system, talking about roster selections. We can talk about it still, but it is counterproductive. The guys that we've talked about so much, the ones that you don't like, and I truly believe this, and I'll say it again. I think Gyasi Zardes, Sebastian Lletget, Christian Roldan are really on the back end of what they're going to do for the U.S. team because the youth movement's already happened. The players that we thought would come in are coming in and featuring. This team is about Pulisic and McKennie and Adams and Aronson and Weah and Richards and Busio when he's healthy. I know I forgot some names. Reyna when he's healthy. Pepe. This is their team. It's not the group that we lose a lot of sleep about talking where they should be on their roster. Those are guys that Greg feels comfortable with. He's been able to watch them train, and that is a benefit. A lot of guys aren't playing. So if Greg Berhalter gets a chance to see these guys train and practice and push them, that's a benefit for coaches, and they will take that every time. So who does get to play in the selections? I gave you my selection in the last video. I had Zach Steffen in there, and I had Walker Zimmerman. Zach Steffen is not. He's still in Manchester dealing with some back issues. Greg Berhalter, Triple G, was talking about Steffen. He's not with the team day to day. Maybe we see him on the back window, but we're not going to see him here. So we can put Matt Turner in there. He talked about Matt Turner. Certainly sounded that he's already put Turner into the starting 11 based on what he was talking about. I have talked to and I've heard a lot of people discuss playing time. And across the board, people in the know that I have talked to said the key is having guys who have played. That may be surprising to some, but it's a situation you can't avoid. You're going to have players here that are going to feature, but just haven't had a lot of playing time because season is out of season or other variables. But because I kept hearing that, it told me that I'm pretty confident. We know the 8 players that are already going to be in that lineup, I believe, which is Pepe, Pulisic, Musa, Adams, McKennie, Dest, Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson. That's 8. Turner is 9. Because he has played, and Greg Berhalter talked about it, he looked at what Lille was going to do, and he said if Lille felt comfortable about starting Weah this past weekend and playing 67 minutes, it means he has crossed all the benchmarks to be able to play. So Weah, to me, gets in front of Brendan Aronson. There is 10. Now it leaves Zimmerman or Richards. I think it's Zimmerman. I kept telling you it's Zimmerman. Chris Richards has been playing. Don't be surprised to see Chris Richards in that 11 alongside Miles Robinson. If everything we have heard is about playing, then Chris Richards, who has started games, has a real shot to be in the starting 11 and have that edge over Walker Zimmerman because he's had games. I'm starting to believe my own hype, although it could be, Zimmerman's done a great job, and everyone was waxing poetic about Zimmerman as well, so he should be good. Again, remember playing in Columbus, 8 victories in World Cup qualifying in Columbus. It's going to be cold. Minnesota's a real cold game, so that's the one we're going to have to circle back here shortly. Let us talk about, sorry, I'm doing a little flippity-do. So selections, I'm feeling pretty comfortable about. Competition, qualifying. How does it look? We talked about Panama. Canada's going to have their concerns, and they start down in Honduras. I think they're going to be hard-pressed to get the most out of this, and starting to feel like it is unlikely they will be in first place in qualifying at the back end of that. We asked Junior Hoylett about that. I got a chance to jump on that Zoom call with the Canadians on Tuesday, and he said it's nice. It gives us a little bit of a swagger. He didn't say that; those are my words about being that top dog. They've earned it, and they can certainly be there. The other one is Mexico. And Mexico, who I felt pretty good about coming into this, are dealing with a lot of issues. They're going to be at Jamaica. Jamaica's got a new coach. You might get that new coach rub. You got Mikel Antonio and many others that are going to be ready to kickstart this qualifying. They still have a shot. Jamaica have done well against Mexico in past World Cup qualifying. And Mexico, they have their concerns. Who plays defensively? When I start thinking of Mexico, you start losing digits about the concerns, right? Who plays defensively? How do they shore that up? Memo Ochoa has been a concern. The defensive reaction of that midfield, whoever it is, the U.S., it was Herrera, Romo, and Alvarez. Does Guardado get back in? Does Pineda slip down there? The U.S. kind of worked that midfield when they played. It's not functioning at a high level. The biggest concern, though, for Mexico is the ineffective play of that trident at the top. Jimenez, Chucky, Tecatito. They have not given Mexico the push they needed. They have not given them the goals. They have not had the bit between their teeth for a variety of reasons. So it might be a good thing. Raul Jimenez battling injuries to get back in there. And then Chucky is suspended. So major concern here for Mexico. But maybe the replacements could do a better job. The selection's not just blankets you with confidence by any means. But Mexico had those issues. But that front three has to deliver, and they have not. So you look into this group of matches, and the U.S. is in better shape than Panama dealing with COVID, than Canada missing Alphonso Davies dealing with COVID, and Mexico dealing with a massive injury and a suspension. The U.S., Zach Steffen, we're not counting Gio Reyna because he's been a long-term injury. Zach Steffen out. DeAndre Yedlin's joining the team, although he has been out with a situation coming out of Istanbul, but not a featured player, a good player to have, but not missing a Chucky or a Raul Jimenez or an Alphonso Davies. So momentum favors the bold, the United States. I don't know if I turned a phrase. That was pretty weak. I want to talk about Christian Pulisic because he addressed the media as well. He was asked about the weather. We talked to you about that. He was asked about the situation at Chelsea, and I don't want to be a guy who says, I told you so, but this is why you listen to the Soccer OG. And you know, if you have been an ardent listener, you know I tell you things before they happen. I told you Lionel Messi was going to leave Barcelona. I have told you time and time again about results. I have told you that Christian Pulisic should leave Chelsea. Doesn't mean he is, but now the Athletic's writing about it. Everyone's addressing it. Thomas Tuchel's coming out and he has talked about it. There's been a lot of pushback because of what Tuchel said. So they asked Christian Pulisic, and he said it's about playing different positions. He goes, it's tough, have not always played in positions that I would like. It's good to be versatile, but I have learned a lot and hopefully I will be in comfortable positions moving forward. So he still wants that and he should get that. Leaving Chelsea is going to be tricky because of the wages and you have to leave a like-to-like club. I don't think he's leaving. Chelsea really don't have a reason to sell him because they make money off of him either way. And Pulisic is not really pushing because it's Chelsea, which is, you know, in the discussion of 3 or 4 best teams in the world right now. One thing that everyone said too is one game at a time. I heard it ad nauseum about this U.S. team. One game at a time. The cliches I'm not good with, but I truly believe they feel this way and they approach it that way. And there's a good spirit around this team, and you can see it right from the jump. And now those young players, we talked about this going back to the summer of 2020. Do they have that experience? Do they have that ability to take control of these situations? If they're not there, they're getting pretty close because of the time they've spent together over the last 10 months or so. It's very good. It's pretty straightforward. Listen to Greg Berhalter. Turner's going to start. Anthony Robinson, he said's locked in to start. Most of these guys are going to start that we think. He kind of suggested Zimmerman's going to start, but I'm believing this guys who have played might get in there. A lot to go for. I'm so excited. I know you are. I don't want to take more time. I think we covered a lot of ground. Make sure you join the live stream following the USA El Salvador game and the Jamaica-Mexico game Thursday night right here on the Soccer OG and El Tri Online, our good friends, and we will discuss it. Make sure you like and subscribe our channel here. We'll see you tomorrow night. Vamos,